Hey, AF, welcome to the show. I am so excited to have you here because you are the expert, as far as I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, in independent publishing.
Well, I know shit.
That's what an expert would say.
Well, yeah, I've been around long enough to pick up a few things, I guess. I mean, I don't consider myself an expert in anything, but other people seem to. So I don't know.
When I came in, you were already doing it. How long? Because I came in, I think, in 2011. I want to say, or maybe 2010. When was your start? Like, how did you even get into independent publishing?
I started around 2007, and I came in right as it was starting at lulu.com.
Oh yeah, I'm like, whoa, Lulu.
Yeah, that was the only game in town at that point, because Kindle didn't even exist at that point.
Yeah.
There was the precursor to that came in a little like about a year or two later. I think it was Book Something or other. Amazon eventually bought it and turned it into Kindle.
Yeah, was that Create Space, or was it?
No, that wasn't Create Space. No,
okay.
I forget. It was Book Something or other. I mean, it didn't last very long. It wasn't very memorable, but Amazon bought it and turned the whole ebook thing into the Kindle. Is because they had been only doing ebooks at the time. So like when I came into it was only paperbacks. There were no ebooks. Mm-hmm. Ebooks didn't exist, or if they did, they were like kind of just off things. And so the reason I came into it is because I was trying to break into writing. I'd sent out a few short stories, like you do, like you did back then. You go to the library, you get the big books that had all the listings.
Yeah. Wait, did you have to use these little paper things? I can't remember what they're called, like stamps or something.
Yeah, the self-addressed stamped envelopes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah. So people now, I wonder if they hear SASE, if they would even know what that is. Oh yeah, send me a SASE.
Yeah, it's like yeah. I mean, most people take electronic submissions these days, and I'm so glad, because it was so much of a pain.
I think the Pulitzer Prize people are the only ones that I actually ever wind up mailing a physical thing to anymore, like ever. And every year I'm like, what? I mean, hopefully they're not watching this. No, it's great. I don't mind
at all. Yeah. So anyway, I was trying to break in. I didn't know. And then I just kind of stumbled across lulu.com, and I thought, well, it doesn't cost anything. I'll publish a poetry book, because I had like tons and tons of poems at that point. And I'll just see if anyone likes it, and I'll publish a little short story collection and see if anyone likes it, if I get comments. And it was kind of like just a test as to whether I should keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I got good response there. So that's when I published Chronicles of the Undead, which is still going and still selling, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And that one, I don't know why I wrote that book, honestly. It was the most not mainstream book that you can write. I mean, it's a historical vampire novel in diary entries. There's absolutely no dialogue in it. Which I didn't even realize until some reviewer pointed it out to me. It's like, oh yeah, there's no dialogue in that, is there? But people still love the book. I'm still getting great response to it. And I finally got a reviewer to tell me to complain that the father character was a total creep, which I had been waiting for since I published the book, because he's supposed to be a total creep, and no one's ever called him out on it until recently. And so Nikki Nelson Hicks finally called him out as the creep that he is, and I'm so happy about that. Made my day.
Funny. Do you think people are trying to be like polite? Like you made the character so creepy that they were a little, like, oh, you don't talk about Uncle Creepy over there.
I don't know, maybe, or maybe they just that he was so fascinating. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just like, because I mean, he basically. I mean, I'm gonna spoil this book, but it's been out since 2009 or 10 or something. He basically sacrifices his daughter to a vampire to become one, to become a vampire. So he's just basically the worst father ever.
Wow. Yeah, that's a little bit like that is not in the parenting book. For good parenting, that would not be anywhere in there.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, I started writing some of these darker books and these horror books, and I've been waiting for people to be offended by them, and apparently I don't offend anyone. So
Yeah, well, I think it's also this genre. I mean, it's
yeah,
and I might get in trouble for saying this, but when we're putting trigger warnings on horror, I get
Mhm.
it because there are things that trigger people,
yeah,
but horror is a trigger. Like
yeah,
all of horror is a trigger, and in
yeah.
all the good horror books I've read, I would not want that to happen to me, and it gives me nightmares.
Yeah,
That's why I'm reading it.
don't generally put horror warnings on too many. I mean, the trigger warnings
Yeah.
on too many of my horror. I did put it on this book though, Visions and Nightmares, because there's one scene in one story that I thought might be upsetting to people, and I didn't want to trigger it because
Yeah.
one of the protagonists in that book does something that's kind of that might be considered controversial, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
So I did put it on that one, and I did have a trigger warning on one of my fantasy books for a little while because it had a lot of swearing in it, but I just took that off eventually and put swearing in the blurb so people would know that's what's happening in the book. So
yeah. Well, plus I think your readers get familiar with you. They know what to expect. Like I know when I read one of your books, it's going to be visceral. It's going to be dark. There's going to be probably a touch of romance. I mean, that seems to not romance, but passion. There's going to be some kind of. I mean, am I remembering that correctly?
no.
Okay,
Unless you read Gothic Cavalcade, that is the only book I wrote that has romance in it.
That might be it. And also might be my thing that I probably really shouldn't say this, but I always find the villain attractive. So maybe that romance.
Okay, well, I do have attractive villains. I'll give you that.
Yes. Yeah, so I will say, so maybe that's maybe not the romance, maybe that's my imagined romance.
Yeah, the Gothic Cavalcade was my attempt at writing a paranormal romance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and about a third of the way through, I realized this isn't a paranormal romance. This is a horror with sex scene in it. Because as I've said before, when the black goo came out, I'm going, this is a horror novel.
Yeah, that's so funny. So addressing this, what genre you write in. When did that start? Have you always been attracted to horror?
No, actually, I started out as a fantasy writer. I wanted to be a fantasy writer. Some of the stories I wrote, of course, were a little on the darker side, but I kind of fell into horror accidentally, as I say, because on Gather, we met on gather.com, and I was a member of this group there. I forget what the name of the group was now. It's been so long. But the group used to have these little contests every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'd win something, and then there was a sort of a grand contest at the end. And I won one month, and the contest at the end of the year was you had to write this nice, sweet story, right?
Yeah.
Turns out my muse is allergic to sweet because she took off after I wrote that story.
Oh man.
Yeah. She's a psychopathic homicidal maniac, and she took off after I wrote the sweet story. And the only way she came back was I wrote the Jack the Ripper prequel story.
Oh wow.
Which is in the first Killers and Demons book.
Yep, and I think that was the first book I read from you. Was the first Killers and Demons.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, and that's the Jack the Ripper thing kind of spawned the Killers and Demons because that was written from the killer's point of view. I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to do a villain's book? So I just wrote 5 quick little short stories and published it as an ebook. Anyway, and people seemed to like it, so I did a second. I'm going to do a third one eventually. I'm got a few stories to finish, but I've got like like if you've seen my Instagram post on my WIP chaos that I posted, I've got like 10.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. I'd like to finish those first.
I actually, from seeing that post, I was like, well, how many work in progress do I have? So I went through and I organized. I was like, you know what? I need to like get these done with a plan. Like I actually need to do these with a plan.
Yeah, but I do have a plan. Like I'm doing the sequel to this one, Visions and
Mm-hmm.
Nightmares, Fairy Tales and Nightmares. That one's probably going to be edited, ready for beta readers by May. So I'm
Okay.
going to be putting that up on Story Origin, hopefully by May, because I got this most difficult story. I finished editing the most difficult story, which is the Snow White story.
Okay.
Yeah, because and no one's going to recognize that story at all because I changed the entire setting. It's now set in feudal Japan.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the Wicked Queen falls in love with Snow White, and there's a vengeful ghost.
Oh wow.
But the mirror is still there, only it's a yokai now in the mirror.
In the mirror. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, very cool. So when is that going to be out? Like about?
Well, I'd like to get it published end of this year. It depends on how quick it goes through beta reading and stuff.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Well, I mean, so what is your process? You've been doing this a while.
Mm-hmm.
What is your process when you start writing? Do you actually have like, I'm going to get, say, a poetry book, a short story collection, and of this done this year, like every year, or do you just kind of go with writing whatever you feel like, and when it's about ready, and then what happens? Like, do you have a rough manuscript, and then you?
Well, depends on what I feel like writing for what gets published that year. I mean, sometimes I have a plan, like with the Hayward and Anderson stories. I mean, I kind of had a plan. Amazon screwed the plan up last year. We won't talk about that. That's evil. Amazon is evil. I'm still mad at Amazon over what they did to the first story in the Hayward and Anderson thing, but they basically took it off Amazon for a reason that shouldn't have been. But what can you do?
I've been hearing that there's like little issues. Somebody was on
Twitter.
They
refused to accept. They refused to accept the proof I had that I actually had the cover rights to the cover.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and they took it off, and that was it. So it's available on my Ko-fi, and it's available on every other retailer on the earth, but
except
not
for Amazon Bazaar.
Yeah, they just apparently stock photo licensing doesn't cut the mustard with Amazon. I don't know why. Because I mean, I do my own covers, so I don't have contracts with people, and I couldn't prove that I had the rights to their satisfaction. So, they wouldn't tell me what they wanted. That's the weirdest part. It's like I asked them repeatedly, well, if you're not going to accept it, what do you want as proof? I mean, I don't have a contract. I did the cover myself, and I kept getting the same generic email over and over and over again.
Wow. Yeah, once you have trouble with Amazon, so far I've been lucky, but once you have trouble with them, I've heard that's the end. But you publish a lot more than I do. Like you put out, I think, way more books.
That's the first real trouble I've had with Amazon. I mean, real trouble. I mean, you've had like the minor things, the stupid things they do, right? That you just
that text is maybe a hair away from our invisible fantasy line of danger. It's 2 hairs in proximity. So
yeah, it's like the spelling. You have spelling mistakes. It's all made up fantasy words, people. I love that.
Oh, I know. And you look through and you're like, yep. I meant to say
of course they're spelling mistakes. They're not real words, Amazon.
But thanks for letting me know. You know, it's good that you're concerned. Now just publish.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that stuff, that's just the publishing stuff. That's when they don't actually listen to what you're telling them that really takes me. Although the one real mistake they actually made that was their fault, and I got mad at them, and they actually gave me a call, was when they took my print book off Amazon. I never asked them to, but they thought I did. and they removed it, and I got livid because this was the launch. This was the
Yeah.
book launch, and I actually got a call from them, and they fixed the mistake.
Wow.
But yeah, this was when they were switching over from Create Space, so I don't think they knew what they were doing at that point.
Well, I think they still don't. There's a big Twitter thing right now where some author they tagged him for copyright infringement on his own book as it launched, because it was also on another site as a pre-sale, like a pre-launch kind of thing. And they're like, no, it's on that site. Same publisher and everything. Took it off.
That's what I mean. They don't understand copy. Some of these people that run, they don't understand copyright.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is on another site, so it's got to be copyright. Well, books can be on more than one site.
Yeah, I mean, unless that author was in Kindle Unlimited, he's perfectly legitimately in his rights to put it on other sites.
And even in Kindle Unlimited, I believe they just kick you off Kindle Unlimited, and they don't take it down. It's just you don't get to be in Kindle Unlimited again.
Yeah, but I mean, I was on Kindle Unlimited for a little while. I didn't see the benefit in it. I mean, I know some people do. A lot of fantasy authors have good sales there, and a lot of romance authors do. And I think, those two genres are, I can understand why. But for the rest of us, it's not as lucrative. It's actually, I've actually done better. Like I had this book. I keep holding this book up. But anyway.
Are you pushing that book this month?
Yes, because the sequel's coming out soon. Go read
Go out and get Visions and Nightmares by A.F. Stewart.
Anyway, but it's actually my bestseller. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I had that one up on Kindle Unlimited for a while. But I actually done better sales after I taken it up. And why? For some reason, people seem to like buying the paperback of that one. So, although they do get a little extra poem in the paperback, so
yeah, maybe that's why there's actually an incentive.
Although I don't tell people that, so I don't know.
Word gets around though, like people talk.
Yeah,
everybody's looking for a good deal.
I put a little extra poem in the paperback just because I figured that they're going to spend that much money on paperback, they should have a little extra.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, because I mean, really, the paperback prices these days are terrible. All these paper shortages and shipping things.
Yes, it has been. Have you seen that hit sales at all? Like, do you feel like all that's affected your sales?
Not in the last few months. My sales have actually been better than ever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Except for February, they may go back to normal this month too, because I haven't seen too much this month. But I mean, I never do well in February.
Yeah.
All the romance people are out in February, so.
Yeah.
But December and January were really good months for me as far as sales. I mean,
oh, that's awesome.
That's kind of relative as far as I'm go, because my sales are never like terrific, but.
Well, I think that's books in general. You know what I mean? Like it just seems we're not here to get rich. I'll just say that.
No, we are not.
I do wonder, because I've seen on Amazon, they're really pushing the ebooks now. They've got the whole ebook or Kindle Rewards and the Kindle Vella, which I've started being serious about again, as in like I've actually done it 2 weeks in a row, which is woo for me, because usually and the whole story is done. I really just need to put it up. But.
Yeah, I'd actually like to try Kindle Vella, but I'm in Canada, so I can't.
Is it blocked? I thought it was Canada and the U.S.
It was just, unless they've changed it recently, it was just the U.S.
Okay. Because I know when they first launched it, it was pretty small, but now I thought it was everywhere. Because I think I just saw that too. Like UK, Canada, and
I'll
US
have to check. I'll have to check again.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, because I mean, I got a lot of stuff that would be good for serializing. Like there's one novel I have that I've written, I haven't published, that would actually pretty nicely make a nice serialized novel.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do hope you will check into that, because that would be awesome. And I have a ton of these Kindle reward coins that stack up. I I actually don't know where I get them from. They just show up in my stuff. I've never bought any Kindle coins, so maybe if you're on there reading, you just get free coins, and you can come and spend them on A.F. Stewart's book, because she's gonna go start uploading this.
Yeah, if I can get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, because I mean, I know a couple other people who do Kindle, and they said, and if you've got something already done, like that you can adapt to it, then you're probably better off, because that way you don't have to write every month. Because I tried that on Ko-fi, and then 2023 happened with all the stuff. Oh, 2023, not 2023, 2022.
Yeah.
Obviously, I blocked that year out of my mind. But yeah, 2022, oh, Winter from Hell, car trouble,
Oh, wow.
twice.
Oh, wow.
The Amazon debacle, had to close down my book cover business because of the Amazon debacle. Computer crashed, lost all my files.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was the end of the year. That was the cherry on the shit cake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to buy a new computer at the end of the year and rebuild all my files from online backups. And I still lost a few things. I have all my formatted paperback stuff is gone. Like I still have the paperbacks. They were all uploaded and everything, but all the formatting stuff, the raw stuff is gone, because it was all on Papyrus Author, and I lost all the files because I hadn't backed them up on the cloud. So.
Well, this is a good time for me to ask my next question, which is, what are the unique challenges? What are the pitfalls for independent publishing?
Yeah, affording it is the number one pitfall, because you have to pay for editors, you have to pay for the book covers. Now, luckily, I can do my own book covers, and I've actually gotten good at it. If you go on Goodreads, you can actually go on Gothic Cavalcade. I haven't updated that one to the newest version of the cover, which is the good cover. It's still on the semi-good cover. But you can see the really bad attempts at my cover on Goodreads, because Goodreads keeps all those bad covers.
I know. Isn't that nice of them? Like, for history?
It's like, I mean, I could see that for paperbacks, because people might have the paperback versions. But if it's an ebook, that version no longer exists anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Except maybe on someone's computer somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and even then it's supposed to update, I think, isn't it? Like when they log back on, it's supposed to automatically update.
I mean, like on the author's computer somewhere, they might have the original file. But nowhere else in the world does that file exist.
Yeah. Can you change it at all? I'm not actually that familiar with Goodreads. Like, I hardly ever get on there.
No, you can't. You have to upload an alternate cover version, because they get so sticklery when you don't do that. And I like to keep my librarian status, so I obey the overlords at that. So,
what is librarian status over there?
A librarian status means you can go in and make changes.
Oh,
and you don't have to actually email them to make the changes. You can do it yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got in on that early. I'm not sure if they actually offer that anymore to authors.
Okay.
But yeah, I got in on it early, so it has to become a librarian. So
okay.
I don't do it for anyone else, just myself, unless unless I know an author friend who's stuck and needs a tweak.
Yeah.
But it's easy, because I mean, and I had to argue with another one of the librarians to stop changing the title of my book on the Killers and Demons, the second one.
Yeah.
Because they kept changing the title of the book into something that it wasn't. So I had to go in there 3 times and change it, and finally talk to Goodreads and say, stop letting this guy do this. So
yeah. Why? Was it like a
because he thought it was a mistake, I guess. I mean, I don't think it was a malicious thing. I think he just thought the title was wrong.
Sometimes you do wrong titles, though, on purpose. Like, that's the point.
Well, it's not a wrong title. It was like Killers and Demons 2, the whole title. It wasn't a subtitle. It's Killers and Demons 2, They Return, right? Mm-hmm. And he was trying to put the 2 in the series, but the 2 was in the title. That's the way I put it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's funny that he would like go back and change that. That's going back to like, that would be somebody like trying to change sweets to SWEETS. No, I meant SUIT. That's like bizarre that somebody would go change your title.
Yeah, and it's like it's pretty obvious I am the author too.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty
It's like
sure you would
I'm
know.
Stewart on Goodreads, and I'm the author here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
You
pretty sure
don't
you
know
would
better
know
than the
how you meant
author.
it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure you would know how you meant it
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
I can see like correcting it once, like, oh, did you mean to do that? Yes, I did. Oh, okay, all right. Sorry. But then to keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I put a note in that book too for other librarians: don't change the title, bitches. I didn't word it like that, but
there was that subtle tone. And then in parentheses, I am not a serial killer.
But yeah, I mean, I don't spend much time on Goodreads. I used to, but I don't like the site much anymore. They've kind of become less indie author friendly than they used to be. Since being bought by Amazon, they've really pushed the trad connections and the trad books. They've all gone, pricey. So
yeah. How would you? I mean, what is your impression of how the industry has changed and where it's going? Because I know you talked about Lulu, which I find amazing. Because back in the day, that was vanity publishing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we were struggling against that whole. Now, no, it's not vanity publishing. And now to many successful independent published books.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing that has changed a lot is that the indie author reputation has definitely improved. And like, we're here to stay and nobody's kicking us out anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, and we're taking over the market slowly. So yes. And the trad publishers, as it was mentioned in the video I watched last night, is the trad publishers keep shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, and when the indie publishing industry started, I mean, we didn't know nothing. I mean, we were like, I call it the Wild West.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, that's basically, so we learned everything from the ground up. And now you've got indie authors who know publishing better than the trad publishers in some cases. And you've got indie authors that are very successful, making 6 figures out there. And you've got the 20 books to 40K group and their conferences. And it's like, yeah, it's a viable option. We're not just the ugly stepsister anymore, even though trad publishing still tries to make it out like that.
Yeah. They
try. No one buys it anymore. Yeah. I mean, even the courts didn't buy their argument.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So, I mean, you've got conferences, you've got, I mean, you've still got the inexperienced, the newbies, the people who can't afford the good covers. I mean, you still got books like that out there. People who think they don't need editing. Which you do. You need the editing. Buy the editing. There we go. We're back.
Yeah, I was like froze up for just a minute.
Simultaneous internet lagging. Anyway, so so you need to spend the money in the indie publishing industry these days. I mean, when you started out, you really didn't have to exactly. I mean, maybe we should have for some of those things. But yeah, we didn't need to. But that's why I learned how to do the book covers, because I can't afford the editing. I can't afford the editing and the book covers. Because and no offense to book artists, cover artists out there, they earn their money. The prices they charge, they're worth it, definitely. Just don't have the money to pay them. So yeah, I learned how to do it myself from stock photos and stuff, and I enjoy it. So.
Yeah.
And I started my Redbubble store came out of that as well. So, that's fun. And I recently started doing book graphics, like for authors. If anybody needs book graphics done on the cheap, I'm here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And I also started doing manuscript evaluations. Like, I'm not editing it, I'm doing a critique, an in-depth critique for people. So it's sort of a little developmental editing and a little bit of beta reading mixed into one. And yeah, and that's also reasonably inexpensive for people who want something like developmental editing but can't quite afford it. So I'm offering those services these days too, because you got to branch out these days if you're an indie author, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
the truth.
Yeah, because it's essentially being an entrepreneur, except for you are creating your own product, which is intellectual property, and then all the subsidiaries of that. Do you wind up doing a lot of like audiobook licensing, all the spin-offs, classes, audiobooks, foreign language,
Yeah, I've got one audiobook out, the first book in the Outer Islands, the Saga of the Outer Islands. I never went much further with the audiobooks. I mean, I had been planning to, but then the whole Audible Gate thing happened. And it's like, and now Find Away Voices has been bought out by Spotify, so I don't know where they stand. And anyway, and I'm still trying to figure out how to redo the audio files I have into a single file so I can upload it as a direct sale. Because honestly, I think direct sales is where the indie publishing is going, because the retailers just don't get it in a lot of ways. I mean,
you're
it's
right.
not like we're leaving retailers, but I've seen a lot of move towards direct sales with the indie authors now, and those with fan bases can pull it off, especially if they're, and you see it on the Kickstarter too, even with like Brandon Sanderson and his big Kickstarter thing. If you're an indie author, pay attention to what Brandon Sanderson did, okay? Because he knew how to do it. He took his fan base and he leveraged it into getting his books, his special editions, and his new independently published books funded.
Yeah.
He did it right. And you see a lot of indie authors now putting out special editions, hardback editions of their books that are popular. So if you've got the fan base, you might want to look into special editions, deluxe editions, and Kickstarter programs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Well, and the thing is, we're going to have to do it anyways, because even if you're trad published, you still are responsible for all your own marketing. They really don't do much. And they'll tell you that. Like, everybody knows this. This is not a, foil hat thing. They don't do it. And so we're going to have to build our own fan base anyways. We may as well. So then why are we building it and then doing all the work and then going, here, do you want most of it? Do you want most of the money?
That's exactly what I mean by shooting themselves in the foot. The only advantage the trad publishers had was the editing and the marketing.
Yeah.
By cutting that,
well,
their reputation sucks these days.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, the reputation, we all thought it was a big deal.
But that was the only advantage they had over indie publishing. And with them taking the marketing away, it's like authors are now going, well, if we have to do that anyway, if we have to spend the money anyway, why are we signing up with you and getting 30% or 25% when we can get 70%? It's plus like that don't make sense.
And the flexibility. Like, if somebody finds a typo, or God forbid, like some kind of issue happens, like something happens in the news, and now suddenly your book is not cool. You know what I mean? And you can remove parts. You can adjust to make it, to take anything that might suddenly, which is this environment, I think. We don't know what might be offensive at any given time. But you could adjust, where in the traditional publishing, it's like, oh, pull that off the shelves, put it in the boxes, it's done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you're seeing more and more mid-listers leaving trad and going hybrid. Because like when they get their rights back from certain series, will stay in trad because they're doing well, and trad wants to renew the contract. Other series were doing as well, so trad drops the contract, they get their rights back, they put it out indie, And they're doing better because they're getting more
Mhm.
money. They've got the same fan base that liked the books when they were trad. They're still making the books. They're making more money off the books. And
Mhm.
it's like they're realizing they don't need trad publishers anymore.
Yeah.
And trad publishers keep dropping mid-listers, because they're not getting new authors anymore. Well, they're not getting new authors because they're not offering them what the other independent publishing is
Yeah.
offering them.
Too many people are going, I could just do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I don't think, I mean, I'm not going to say I wouldn't go traditional because who
Yeah.
knows, the right offer comes along.
Yeah, I mean, if Tor
But
came up to me and offered me a contract and said, "We'll publish these books," and I'd go, "Sure, sure.
yeah,
You
okay,
can have those books. I'm still going to publish these books myself,
exactly,
but you
yeah,
can have those books, right? And
yeah,
I can trade on your name for these books."
exactly. Because that's really the crux of it. I have a friend that's New York Times bestseller, and she said so she got her advance, and then that's not free money. It is an
Mm-hmm.
advance against your sales, which I think a lot of times authors, we don't realize this. And then they did all the language rights, like the language translations. Well, they took that out of the money that she would have gotten paid. They had to do a new cover for every foreign language edition, which I think was like
Mm-hmm.
21, which the covers were ridiculously expensive, compared to what we could do. And I don't think they were not worth that much more money. Well, that came out of the money that she would have got, so it's like, and she has no control of it. Like,
Yeah,
you don't get to say, you know what, just leave the old cover. I like the old cover on all of those.
yeah. That's like the one thing I hear a lot about with authors saying, "Would you go trad? Would you go indie?" And a lot of the indies are saying, "Well, we like the control. We like
Mm-hmm.
having the say in the covers. We like having the say in what we publish and how we publish it."
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people said, "Well, I chopped this book out to an agent." And the agent said, "Well, we can't market that, so we're not going to take it." And so they independently published it. Or, "We'll market it if you change this." And it was such a ridiculous change that they didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's like you take a book about a sci-fi heroine or something, and then all of a sudden you stuff in a romance because that's marketable. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense with the story.
And there are people who don't read romance. I mean, I admit we're in the minority, but
Well, I actually do read romance. I mean,
mm-hmm.
most of the romance I read is historical romance, but I mean, I like a good Regency romance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And I'm gonna just go have a crush on your villains.
well, I do have some nice villains. Well, all the villains in the new book, Fairy Tales and Nightmares, they're all female protagonists. So a lot of the villains are females too. Anyway, but I've got some nice villains. I've got like I'm doing a Tales of the Norse Gods. Loki Saves the World,
Oh, I love it.
which
As
is
a fan of Loki.
the 5-story set. This is kind of one narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, Loki is the hero in that. All the bad things in the myths about him were actually propaganda.
Yeah, I
So
believe
none
it.
of
I
it happened.
completely
Like,
believe it.
yeah, I mean, so, and basically Baldur's the villain in that one. So
Nice. I can't wait to read that.
you may have actually read the first story because it was in Christmas Lights, one of them.
Oh, okay.
What was the original? Now I can't remember the original story. No, not the Winter Solstice Murder. That was the fairies. That was the fairy private detective. Oh, A Twist in the Season. That was it.
Okay.
That's the story that I'm expanding into the new collection. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so I'm taking the North myths and making them a little less fantastic.
Yeah,
And Loki's the hero.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
but I got a good tagline. It's like what was the tagline? It's like Loki, no, 2 gods, 3 ghosts, and a werewolf save the world.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. No, so when is that coming out?
That will probably be out next year. Maybe I'll finish it this year. I mean, I've got 2 stories left to finish writing in that.
Okay.
Anyway, I got stuck on an evil chicken's motivations, so I'm still stuck with that evil chicken, but I'm slowly working it out.
Okay. That kind of leads into my final question, I guess, is what do you have coming out? Like, where can we find you? But I want this to end with, what is the evil chicken? I mean, start with, what is the evil chicken?
I actually have a video discussing the evil chicken, so if you want to go over to my YouTube channel
go to Anita's AF Stewart's YouTube channel right now and go find out what the evil chicken is.
Yeah, it's the evil chicken holds my story hostage, I think is the name of the video, something like that. But anyway, one of the stories is I came up with this fabulous first line for one of the stories, and it was like, I'm standing at the gates of Helheim holding a chicken. It's like, yeah, I have to write this story.
Yeah.
So originally the chicken was just supposed to be a throwaway gag, right?
Yeah.
For the first line. But then when I was doing research onto the significance of chickens in Norse mythology, I realized there are actually 3 roosters involved in Ragnarok.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So that's how the last Ragnarok story came about.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, and so the chicken in Helheim is actually one of the Ragnarok roosters. Unfortunately, it's the one without a name. So that caused a problem right off the bat. So I have to figure out a name for the chicken. But the chicken is working for the Norns, but he's also working for the main villain. And he's working for Balder, and he's kind of been helping Loki at the same time. So he's got like all these different complicated motivations going on. So I have to figure out exactly what the chicken is up to before I can continue with the story. The chicken is not talking yet. So
yeah, I was gonna say that's a lot to put in one chicken.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's an evil chicken. Trust me, he's an evil chicken.
Well, yeah, he's just got too much going on. I mean, it's not his fault. He's just overloaded.
Yes, he's a misunderstood evil chicken.
Yeah, he just needs a little counseling. It'll be okay.
Yeah, but there's a lot of weird little animals. I put on quite a few because I mean there's a squirrel in the tree. I cannot pronounce the Norse tree, but you know, the world tree.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a squirrel that lives in that tree, and the squirrel hates Loki. So there's a chase when Loki changes into a cat and chases the squirrel up the tree. And then there's the miniature dragon who annoys Loki. And Loki's annoyed by the miniature dragon. A lot of things annoy Loki. He's very easily annoyed. And then we have the 3 ghost elves, which I've held them over from, like, they were in the first story, the twist in the season. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the names I used in the original story, the original version. I mean, they were cute for the original story, but I may change it up because I mean, they didn't tell Loki their real names. Yeah. So he gave them like little stupid nicknames. Mm-hmm. I think they were like Snippy, Sad Eyes, and I don't remember the third one, but it started with S. But one of the names isn't exactly Victorian, because the original story takes place in Victorian era, and so one of the original names isn't actually a Victorian word. Like, it didn't originate until later, so I may change that.
Oh, gotcha. That does make sense.
But I can't find a good S, a synonym for that, so I'm still working on that. But
yeah, I know you'll come up with it though. You always do.
Yeah, I may just. I mean, I don't particularly want to dump the nicknames because one of them's kind of like an in joke. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
I mean, you are the creator of that world, so pretty much your word is the word. Well, what else have you got coming up? Like, what can we look forward to you in this next year?
Second story in the Hayward and Anderson series, which is my paranormal investigative steampunk stories, that will be out this summer. I'm not sure exactly when. I've got all the beta reads for it, and I'm just doing the final editing on beta read feedback, and then it's off to the professional editor, and then it will be published sometime in the summer. The cover's all done for that one. And so that one will be out. So that one will be published this year, sometime in the summer. I'm not sure when yet, because depends on when I can get the editing appointment to get it done and stuff like that. But so that one will be out this year. Anyway, so I've got some really good beta reader feedback on that, but I do have to make a few changes and tighten it up a bit from the feedback.
Okay. Yeah.
But so that one, that second short story will be out this year. And I'm hoping to have Fairy Tales and Nightmares out at the end of the year. I'm aiming for October.
That's a perfect time for it.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. It depends on whether I actually get my button gear and get the editing finished.
Well, I know it's winter there, so you have no excuses. Get your button gear. we need this book.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm kind of stoked about it again. So yeah, I should be getting it finished because I finally got the Snow White story was the one that was really holding me up because I just couldn't tweak it the way I wanted it to. So it took a little finessing and some stewing in my head to get it right. I mean, and the Snow Queen story is pretty much edited. The Baba Yaga story is pretty much edited. I do have to do a little work on the Little Mermaid story because it's still a little bare bones. The Hansel and Gretel things might need a little editing, but it's almost done. Same with the Cinderella Sleeping Beauty story. And the Little Red Riding Hood story probably needs a bit of work, but it's almost done. So, I mean, the editing's pretty much finished on that.
Sounds very close.
Yeah, the Little Mermaid one's the one's probably going to need the most work on it. But
okay. All right. And then where can we watch for this?
Well, you can... Hello, Go Indie Now. I'm assuming that's Joe, but there are several other people with access to that. So
we'll go with Joe et al.
Yeah, Joe and all. Yes. Yeah. I mean, you can see my website there, afstewart.ca. You can get all the updates there, or you can go to my group on Facebook, AF Stewart's Minions, and I post all the updates there too. Or join my newsletter. You get updates.
All right, fabulous. Well, you do a lot for the community, and I'm super glad you're here. You've got the October Frights every year that you've done. I mean, I just know you as a general support. I mean, you were my first blurb ever. I think I didn't even know what a blurb was, and you were my first fiction book. Like, you were that support system, that author that kind of led me into it. So I thank you for that. Always.
Yeah, I still kind of do reviews and stuff for people. I don't take review requests anymore because I like doing it, but it was just, I was getting too many of them and I couldn't keep up. So I just do it for books now. And I also do 2 shows. Yes, Joe, I called it a show and not a podcast. You'll be happy to know. I do 2 shows. One for the Go Indie Now Network, Words That Kill, where we discuss killing off characters. And season 2 is currently in progress over there, so you can check them out. We got some good interviews this year. And I do Between the Pages book chats. That's ending, temporarily ending, I should say, in March. I'm going on hiatus for a little while, but I'm going to be doing some interviews for Crystal Lake Publishing for their horror authors.
Oh, okay.
So it's not exactly ending.
Just
it's not coming out every week anymore, let's put it that way.
Exactly, while other things are happening. Yeah,
I just want to tweak the formula for Between the Pages book chat a little bit because I was it was booking so far in advance, people were canceling too often, so I'm gonna do it a little more, I think, month to month instead. But I have to figure that out, so I'm putting it on hiatus for a couple of months so I can
reorganize.
Also so I can focus on getting these 10 WIPs finished.
Yeah, exactly. Which we've all seen on your Instagram now. So
that's actually not all of them, to be honest. That's just the ones that are active. I've got my Halifax vampire steampunk, vampires of the British Empire. I've got that on the back burner. I've got the steampunk Hellfire Club books on the back burner. I've got the rest of the Camelot Immortal series on the back burner as well. So, I mean, that's all written. I just have to edit that, but it got put on the back burner for various reasons.
This show has now turned into True Confessions of A.F. Stewart.
Yeah, so, I mean, and I'm sure there's other, I think the Third Killers and Nightmares book that's on the back burner, and as well as another collection. So, I mean, I've got like at least 4 to 6 on the back burner, as well as the 10 active ones. Anyway, and yeah, for some weird reason, I have decided to write a paranormal cozy mystery, which I'm still trying to decide why.
Because why not? That's what we do.
I was fooling around with cover ideas, improving my skills, and then all of a sudden my muse says, write that. You have to write that. So now I'm writing a paranormal cozy mystery about a witch in Nova Scotia who owns a bakery. And so far we have a murdered guy who becomes a ghost and a curse. And that's as far as my outlining went, which is also a problem because now I'm going to have to pants the stupid thing. So who knows what this one's going to turn out like.
I look forward to this. Yeah. And that's when we're going to have a whole nother show just to explain how this happened and what happened afterwards.
I don't know. I have no explanation for this.
Oh.
I blame the pandemic. It's turned my muse. I think she started drinking. That's all I got to say. I think my muse started drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, she makes my characters drink. I think she needs buddies or something.
Yeah.
That's another weird thing about my writing is all my characters are alcoholics.
Oh, is this another confession or?
Not for me. I don't drink. I don't drink at all. I'm allergic to alcohol. The fermentation. I can't drink it.
Funny.
But all my characters are luscious. I mean, if you read Saga of the Outer Islands, Rafe drinks wine.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, he's a god. He can get away with it. Mm-hmm. My immortal character, I mean, she makes her own mead, for heaven's sakes. Yeah. But again, she's immortal and no hangovers. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my characters just drink way, way too much. So
yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. So
yeah, I think, yeah, I have no idea. Sometimes I just wonder, but I'm grateful that the characters come to entertain us with their issues. Well, I do want to thank you for being on. Everybody go to afstewart.ca. I don't know why I want to say CA for Canada, and get updates on all these great books coming out. Yeah, and you can catch up on all the stuff you're doing.
You can also check out the Drabble Wednesday and the weird goings on of Frankie and Johnny. There's the zombie cows, the zombie penguins, other things over there as well. Yeah, you can blame another video show podcaster host for the zombie penguins. It's all his fault.
Would it be Joe?
No, this one was Joshua Pantalleresco. Yeah, he came up with the idea of zombie penguins in an interview he was doing, and I ran with it.
Oh, that's funny. All right,
you can also blame him for the story I wrote about Joe, though. Yeah, don't ever dare me to write something. So that's all I'm saying.
There we go. Well, you can read it all at afstewart.ca. And then I have to announce the new poet coming up because I've got the poetry spotlight going. The next Sunday's, or this is Saturday. Next Saturday's poet will be Blaise Langlois with the poem Witness. And today I'm about to play for you a reading from Louise Worthington, and it's Lady Macbeth's Monster. And she did the video for this herself, so it makes my job a lot easier. But I thank everybody who sent in poems, and keep it up because I love sharing one poet a week. I mean, it makes a nice ending for me. So thank you so much for being here. And yeah, we're going to have to do this again.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right. And thank you for everything that you do for the community in general. You do a lot. And here is Lady Macbeth's Monster, if I can say it.
Lady Macbeth's Monster, read by Louise Worthington. Lost stares at her all the while, watching her eat, sleep, tickles her earlobe with a rough smile, coos baby breath in too deep. Nature's revolted, now chaos begs, an empty womb worn for a face. For nothing living can spawn from between her legs, not even a blue skeleton in the finest lace. Her belly now is coffin flat, sharpened swords and daggers substituted for eggs. Ambition multiplies like rats, drinks heartily between her damp, parted legs. Motherhood, a miscarried dream, dead in the eye of a woman unseamed.